Welcome everybody to Spotlight 814. I am your host Ryan Dolly, and I am here in the studio with, well, today she's a guest and co-host, Brenna Thummler.
I forgot I have to talk about things.
Yeah, Brenna Thummler.
That's me.
Who is one of the playwrights for the Spotlight 814 Originals Works weekend at PACA. And I'm also here with the star of the Da Vinci Code at the Erie Playhouse, Kyle Filbeck.
The star is subjective.
A star.
A cast member.
A star.
Who bleached his hair for this role. So, yeah, I'm the star.
Slim Shady.
I spent a lot of money to be the star. Just kidding.
How you doing, Kyle?
I'm well. How are you?
It's good. Good. I'm all right. It's good to have you back in the studio.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
It sounds like Kyle is missing being in a musical right now.
I'm so tired. Well,
been humming a lot today.
he's in on.
A little bit.
He's
right.
We're in
Rock of
Rock of
Ages.
Ages together.
Yeah.
So the Da Vinci Code was adapted by Rachel Wagstaff
Mhm.
and Duncan Abel. Original author was Dan Brown. 2003 was published. And then
Same year as Wicked the Musical.
Yes.
Fun fact.
And the film adaptation was in 2006. How was opening night? Last night was opening.
Yes. We opened last night. I love premiere weekends. I feel like I don't necessarily always clock how much I love premiere weekends until they happen.
Yeah.
I remember with Waitress opening, like, the crowds were insane.
It was nuts, yeah.
It's cheaper to come see a show premiere weekend at the Erie Playhouse, but also, like, it's all the people who are, like, plugged into the theatrical kind of circles. So you get really enthusiastic crowds. You get people gasping and laughing and, like, actually really interacting with you. And my role is, like, doesn't really rely on that so much, but like I was backstage, like, listening to the reactions to people like Kate and JP and Patrick, and it just kind of, like, heightened the whole experience. And then you go out into the crowd and it's like a big old hug from all the people that, like, you've done shows with or have seen shows before, or you've seen them in shows, and it feels really cool.
Yeah, no, I love premiere weekends too, and they're doing the new stuff now, like with Voodoo Brewing.
Yeah.
Doing beer samples before the show and pre-show entertainment from Jason Laurgren tonight.
Oh yeah, and last night was Raya Lambert and the Raya Lambert Band. I think that's just what they call it. They were great outside, and yeah.
What's the entertainment for tonight? Another band?
Jason Laurgren.
So a musician.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
Oh, gotcha.
He's going to be singing his little...
Singing, like, puzzles? What kind of stuff is he singing?
I don't know.
He's a crooner. He's a crooner, baby. He's a...
Singing in cursive.
Yeah.
I did Vinci Code. Lure 'em in.
Yeah. What?
Lure 'em in.
Lure 'em in.
Lure them in.
Oh, lure them in.
Beckoning. You can't see
I was
me,
like, I
but
thought I was saying his last name wrong. I was like...
Yeah, it sounded a little bit like slurifying his last name, but
Yeah.
it was not. That's not the intent. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was like, well, what are you doing? Okay. Tickets are on sale at the Playhouse box office, 814-454-2852, or on erieplayhouse.org. Tell us about the show.
So the show is, well, okay, so I'll start, I guess, with, like, the direction angle. So this is executive director Zach Flock, his debut directing a main stage Erie Playhouse show. And then Brittany Lee is doing all the projections, and like, kind of, it's our set is, I'm not a big projections person in general. I like a physical set.
Yeah.
She has, like, blown it out of the water. It looks really cool. And you know how when you're in a show, like, you don't see the way that it looks until you see pictures of it?
Yeah.
So, like, I saw the Rick Klein photos yesterday,
It looks good.
and after initially reacting in horror to the one of myself, like, whipping myself, I, like, started looking around and I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a darker tone of a show. It's a bit of a mystery. I feel like murder mystery cheapens it, but it's like I mean, it's dark and there's some heavy stuff, and we bring in factors like church and divinity factors, and there's historical elements to it. There's, like, art history. It's really, it's a complex story, but I think it's told really well. And you learn a lot about, like, I feel like I've learned stuff about this show about Leonardo da Vinci and stuff that's, like, hidden in his work, whether you believe in it or not. Yeah. But it's that kind of show. And then you kind of get into good and evil, and there's family conflict, and obviously the age-old discussions over Christ.
Yeah.
And just lighthearted topics like that.
It's kind of like a religious cult, right?
Well, so my character is, I've never played a character like this. I play Silas, and he is kind of a lost soul who has been radicalized and programmed into like blindly following this teacher.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, there are parallels. He's kind of been coerced and manipulated and primed into following this teacher that he's never met. He communicates with him via like phone and video, like comments or whatever, but he never sees his face. He doesn't know who he is. He's just getting orders and he's following them. So it's a really intense role. That's the word that everyone kind of used when the casting was announced or whatever. They're like, oh, that's a really like intense role, intense. And
were you familiar at all before? Like,
not really.
Okay.
I've been told that I've seen the movie. My partner I was like, I don't know anything about this, and he was like, we watched the movie together, and I was like, I don't. He was like, it was like 9 years ago. I was like, okay, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then I started reading the book to like familiarize myself with how the story went. So that's the extent of it. And it's not like I don't mean this in like an artiste kind of way, but I was like, okay, everyone has a preconceived notion of who this character is, apparently, because everyone was like, ooh, like I have thoughts on this. And I was like, I don't. So I didn't watch the movie, which normally I think I would. Like I feel like I would generally want a reference and to be able to be like, oh, this is kind of how this goes and here's how the arc goes. But I just kind of followed the script and in rehearsals tried to find my own version of it. And then finally this week I caved and I went on YouTube and I was like, okay, so how far away from what was done in the movie am I? And I'm not Paul Bettany, but I watched it and I was like, okay, we're in this. It feels like the same DNA at least.
Yeah.
But I feel like what I've done is my own.
And that's great. You gotta make it your own, especially like when it's a movie. It's you gotta make it your own.
And that's the big insecurity, which Ryan, I was telling you about, like on the way to Rock of Ages last week. I was kind of like, half the time I'm like, do I suck? Am I bad? Like, is this what people are going to be expecting to see? Because people are familiar with the movie, and I'm not. But yeah, I feel good about it. I got some good feedback last night. Like I don't know if anybody who knows me can hear in my voice. I don't blink, and it's just a lot of like shouting and screaming, and it's very, very intense. And
well, on top of rehearsing for Drew in Rock of Ages.
You're screaming in Da Vinci Code, and then you're screaming 80s rocket. So I'm on prednisone. I was like, I need some help to get me through this.
Yeah.
I'm not in pain, but I'm like, I can't, like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. It's I don't think I've ever been more tired doing a show, just because like I go on stage. There's one scene in particular. Are you coming tonight too? Okay. Like there's one scene with a camera. That's all I'll say. And I don't know how long the scene is, like 5-7 minutes, if that. And by the end of it, I'm like drained, because it's like I'm just like. Hopefully, you'll see what I mean. But you can't. I feel like such a little artiste being like, you can't phone it in, but you really can't, because I have to go out and I have to be like, I use Alice Ripley and Next to Normal, the eyes, no blinking, I'm staring ahead, it's like that, and then the voice is just on all the time, and then I'm fighting people, I'm getting knocked down, I'm knocking other people down. There's like 2 scenes where like I have to fight women, which is really weird.
Yeah, you fight Kate, right?
I fight Kate, and I fight Petra, who's making her Playhouse debut. So, like, welcome to the Playhouse. Let me choke you.
That's how I like to be welcomed.
And, like, the rehearsals for those were, like, really intense because, I mean, I'm not, like, a hulking guy, but I'm, like, just, I don't know, 5'11", like, and these are smaller, like, shorter women, and it's, like, you don't want to, like, hurt anybody. You don't want to be too physically imposing. So, like, it took me a really long time to, like, get comfortable with the idea of physically, and it's done safely. Like we had Bunny Manchester did the fight choreography, and she was very, very precise and very specific, and it was done in a great way. But you still feel like, okay, I'm supposed to grab her, I'm supposed to like smack and then grab and like push, and it's very like, it's all coordinated, but it feels crazy sometimes because it's like real. I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah. That was a lot of words. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. No, that's great.
Well, speaking of like a lot of words, I mean, there is so much that is involved in this show. Like, it's a really complex story, and that was one of the author, like Dan Brown's, worries about this becoming a stage show. Is that there was so much in the novel, and it's so long that how can you possibly take this and put it into a stage show? But he was very, very okay with the final result.
The result.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so again, as someone who hasn't really watched the movie, I've been told that it's very different from the movie. And then the book, which I did read most of and then got busy. But like in the book, you learn a lot about the characters through flashbacks. So like Sophie and Langdon and all these different people, Sonia, like you learn a lot about them because there's like a chapter dedicated to here's what happened 20 years ago that's relevant to right now. And in the show, you kind of hear about it through like conversation. So like Sophie and Langdon, played by Patrick and Kate Thiem, like will be talking about stuff, and Sophie will tell a story from when she was a girl about her grandfather who has been killed, and so it's different, but I think it's ultimately the same like DNA, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, one of the I'll kind of like jump into my little factoids here. Michael Urie, who's a big actor.
I love him.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Shrinking?
No.
The show?
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good, and he's in that, and he's my favorite character. He's so great in that show.
He runs away with everything he does.
Yeah.
I met him last fall at Once Upon a Mattress
Really?
in New York, and I was like, I love Ugly Betty so much. Like, he's so funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He originated Langdon, the character in Algonquin Playhouse. He was Langdon.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I was listening to an interview that he did with Broadway Backstage or something. And first of all, one of the best fun facts is that he was reading the original book to get familiarized with it.
Yeah.
Before he took on the role, and he actually missed a flight because he was so engrossed in the novel. And that he fell in love with it, and he loved playing the character. Where was I even going with this? I started talking about Michael Urie, and I got lost.
That's a really different kind of role for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really familiar at all with the show, but I have seen. I mean, I've seen mostly like the little photos from your show and read the descriptions, but it did seem very, very different than what he normally does.
He normally plays like very flamboyant, like funny, and like Langdon is very like. That's cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see clips from that if they exist.
It was him. I forget who played Sophie with him.
Do we even need to elaborate on that? Because Michael Urie.
It's Michael Urie, yeah.
His own segment. Wait, you were going to list factoids.
Yeah. Oh, I have them here. I'm trying to figure out which one it was. Let's see.
I have one. The writers, Rachel Wagstaff and Duncan Abel, previously adapted Girl on the Train for the stage.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. I had no idea that it was for the stage. Is it new?
I'm not sure. I need to look into it.
Who wrote Girl on the Train? Who wrote that?
I don't know. Do you know that one, Brenna? Girl on the Train.
I know the title. I just can't.
So do I.
Oh, who did that one?
Because that's another like long, like complex story. Girl on the Train was written by.
Drum roll, everybody.
The book came out in 2015. Paula Hawkins. Yeah.
What a lady.
What a lady. What a British lady.
What a lass.
One thing that they were asked, like this, Rachel and Duncan were asked, what do you want to do next? And they were
you're
like,
on a first name basis with them now?
I sure am. And they said they wanted to do Da Vinci Code, especially because they wanted to bring like this 20-year-old story that was so big at its time to new audiences.
Yeah.
And they had a great quote. They were like, it felt like Rachel and I were a bit like Sophie and Langdon faced with this ginormous puzzle, because they were saying like the book was so complex and involved that they had really had to figure out how to put it on stage in such a small capacity. Yeah.
And it is different. There are characters that aren't there. Like there's all kinds of stuff that.
There's a whole subplot that was taken out of from the movie and the book, and
Ringarosa is not on stage.
Right.
I'm excited to watch the movie now that I've done the show, because I'm like, it is an interesting story. It's very gripping.
Yeah.
As a Jesus person, though, I don't know if either of you are like religious or like spiritual.
Nah.
It's like, it's weird to be in a show like this, because it's like, am I rooting for atheism by doing it. No disrespect to anybody for their views, but
Right.
Like, it is interesting, like, having been brought up in church, and then it's like I'm doing this show where
Very different from
the show
I used
ends.
to.
I'm not going to give it away, but it's like there's stuff that happens where it's like, whose side are you on, Kyle? Yeah.
I played Jesus once, so I get it.
I sang one Jesus song once, so yeah. But I played Judas in Godspell, so
Okay.
I'm like, I guess I'm always just the bad guy
Yeah.
when it comes to God.
You're such a bad guy.
Said during Pride Month, I'm a living sin.
You're right. Be proud.
Be proud. We're sitting in a room with rainbow-colored microphones.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is perfect. So we're gonna do a quick lightning round with you.
Uh-oh.
If you could swap roles with anyone else in the show for one night, who would it be and why?
Oh. Oh my God. I feel like maybe JP,
Okay.
who is Teabing. He plays Lee Teabing. He's really good, so I could never. He's like he's so talented. And when you read his bio, like, he's done everything. But he's really funny. He's very engaging. But the role is like super interesting as well.
Yeah.
Him or Petra, maybe just come out for a couple scenes and be a nun, and then, yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. I could see it. You're stuck in a real life treasure hunt. Which cast member are you taking with you and why?
Kate.
Yeah.
We'd be out of there in 2 seconds. Yeah.
What's the weirdest rabbit hole you went down while researching this role? Any secret societies we should be worried about right now?
While researching this role, I heard rabbit hole, and I immediately jumped to going down Defying Gravity rabbit holes with all the different alphabas,
Yeah.
which happens often.
That does.
Honestly, okay, this is a lame answer. The rabbit hole that I went down was like, what color blonde do I dye my hair? I feel like I didn't like. I got into the book. Okay. So this is not the answer you're looking for, but like,
Any answer. Really.
I was told that I was going to be playing the role, and Kate called me and she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're doing it. Like, you're going to have, like, it's so exciting. You're ready to take your shirt off on stage." And again, as someone who hasn't watched the movie, I was like, "Oh, what?" And so I immediately texted my friend who's a trainer, and I was like, "You want to work with me?" And I don't actually take my shirt off on stage. I wear like very like Mormon like underwear, and
Chastity belt.
kind of, but like I mean, you still kind of have to feel confident in that.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
I had people last night. This is me tooting my own horn, but I had people last night. They were like, "Oh my God, like your muscles looked so," and I was like, "Thanks." But then I also texted Jared. I was like, "Well done." So I guess I
Good
went
job, buddy.
down the vanity rabbit hole and was like, my hair and my body. That's the answer.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
Have
fair.
you ever had to do that before for a show? Have you ever felt like you wanted to change your appearance that drastically for a role before?
Dyed my hair for Waitress. I have like somewhere between blonde and brown hair. Normally, I dyed it dark brown for Waitress.
Mhm.
Trisha actually asked me to,
Mhm.
and I was like, no problem. I like dyeing my hair. It's
Yeah.
fun. I don't do it a lot because it's expensive, but I did that, and then I've kept it brown like that
Okay.
through the year, and then we did this, and I was like, well, I guess I'm bleaching it. And I didn't bleach it. It's normal. It's like a normal blonde, but
Okay, well, what's your normal hair color? Like
It's-
you
it's
said
like-
middle of those two.
yeah, it's like a light brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's one line or moment in the show that still gives you chills even after all these, like after all the rehearsals and performances?
There's a line. Oh, can I say it? Let me know if this is too spoiler or cut it
Yeah.
out. Betsy. I don't think this gives away too much. There's a moment towards the end of the show where things are resolving, and Betsy says she rests at last beneath the starry skies. And as a person of spiritual, like something, like I like that.
Yeah.
It sits with me, and I think there's so many battles fought over, not to get really deep here, but there's throughout history, like the biggest fight and the biggest battles we have as human beings are over faith, religion,
Mhm.
like where it belongs, where it doesn't belong. And like just the idea, even if I don't, I won't, I feel like I'm about to spoil something at every second, but like the
You
idea of
dare.
like finding some kind of resolution where
Mhm.
you're at peace
Yeah.
she says that line, and I'm just like,
I like
okay.
that. I like
Yeah.
that. All right, and last one. If Silas had a spotlight or Spotify playlist, what would be his number one song?
Oh my God. It would be like, it would either be something like really angry, and like I'm jumping to Kelly Clarkson's angriest songs, and I'm like, which one would like Never Again, let's go with a deep cut from '07, or he'd be like a total like Vanessa Carlton 1,000 Miles kind of guy.
No Rage Against the Machine or anything like that?
I don't know, because I'm like, he's just like that in his everyday life, so it's like maybe he needs to unclench via his playlist.
With Vanessa Carlton.
Vanessa Carlton is, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He cries for 15 minutes every day. That's
He cries for 24 hours every day. This man he needs help. I'm going to go with
Awesome.
Vanessa Carlton. I think
Vanessa
that's
Carlton.
yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. And I think Silas in another life has a beautiful voice, and could be like a concert pianist. Who knows?
This is so
Beautiful.
good.
I love it.
All right, so the show opened last night, and you guys run until what date?
June 29th. Yeah, we have one show tonight. I don't know when this is coming out, but we have a show tonight, Saturday. We have, is it 3 next weekend or 4 next weekend? And then I think it's 4 next week and then 3 the following week. Or it's
Okay.
reversed. I don't know. It's on erieplayhouse.org.
I think it's the second weekend there's a Thursday show.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
So we're going to switch over to the Original Works weekend at PACA, and that's our very first theatrical venture as Spotlight 814.
Yes. Yes, in a partnership.
Yeah.
Burr, 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 burr.
Mhm.
I can't do an air horn, but that was my try.
I was wondering what that was.
Embarrassing. Feel free to cut that out. Or don't.
I'm definitely keeping
please,
it.
Please leave it.
You're welcome,
Definitely-
Erie.
Definitely keeping it. So I'm going to turn this over to Brenna because
Okay.
we put this thing together very quickly.
Yeah, I forget when we read the plays in
It was like
Like-
last month.
like beginning of May maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very quick turnaround for this. And I'm shocked that we pulled it off.
Yeah, me too. I was very concerned
Yeah.
until maybe tomorrow.
I mean, you wrote a lot of these, right?
I wrote one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 5 shorts.
Yeah.
3 shorter ones, 2 a little bit longer ones. I'll run through those really quickly so people
Yeah.
know what to look out for. There's Denise in Room 208 by Daniel Collette, Couch by James Hayne, Alone in the Dark at the End of the World by Mitch King, Would You by Howard Lang, and We Hate a Haunting by Brenna Thummler. Yeah.
And also, so Denise in Room 208 it's directed by Casey McCloskey, featuring Dan Bainbridge and Ashley Sullivan. Couched is directed by Sarah Little, featuring Karina Del Greco, Chris Peterson, and me. Alone in the Dark at the End of the World by Mitchell King, directed by Sarah Little, featuring me and Ella Worley. Would You by Howard Lang, directed by Zachary Hoffman, featuring Karina Del Greco and Nicole Schneelock.
I love Zach Hoffman.
Love him. Love him. And We Hate a Haunting by the lovely Brenna Thummler, directed by Kate Newbert-Lechner, featuring Morgan Brace, me, Marnie Foss, Carrie Lee Hinkson, Zach Hoffman, AJ Holman, and Nicole Schneelock.
Wow.
I'm so excited to see them.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with who is part of it.
Yeah, it's great.
For
So
every
it's a-
show.
That's a big group, too, because I feel like you just mentioned like 1 or 2 names for most of them, and then you've got like a whole, like,
Yeah, mine's definitely the longest one.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's probably closer to 40, 45 minutes,
Mhm.
I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Zach and I play a couple.
Gay.
Yeah, so there's a married ghost couple who is haunting Zach and Ryan's characters, and they're trying to be discreet and not haunt, like stay under the radar. And the next door ghosts are haunters, and they make their humans scream. So it's like this ghost neighbor feud that ends in trouble.
This is intriguing.
Yeah, you got to come see it.
You did tell me a
Oh,
little
no,
bit
you-
about it, but like this is like
Yeah.
interesting.
Maybe we can have you come to the final dress.
When
on
is it?
Thursday.
Okay.
Morgan won't be there.
Morgan won't be there. Yeah, that's okay. Still, check out the rest of them, and that it'll be somebody reading for them. But yeah, that's June 20th, 21st, and 22nd, and doors open at 6:30. Shows at 7.
Yeah, make sure you remember. Shows at 7. It's usually 7:30, so don't
Right.
arrive late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Sunday doors at 1:30. Show at 2, and it's a $15 suggested donation. All donations are being doubled, or they're being matched by Tom Hagen, and this is to help develop the 5th floor theater space and get a new elevator in the space to
Yeah.
make it a little more
Or accessible.
accessible. Yeah.
I love how you're like, let me turn this entire thing over to you, and then you spoke the whole time.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I don't know if you've gone over this in like another episode or what, but like when you're writing something like this, where does that idea come from? That's such a bizarre idea, but it sounds so cool.
It's great.
I have no idea. Usually I'm agonizing over an idea forever and trying to come up with something.
Yeah.
But I was just sitting on my couch one day. I was like, I've never heard a ghost neighbor story. Like it's usually just a single ghost
Yeah.
as part of it. And I thought of this maybe a year or something ago, and it's something like this that gives me the motivation to actually sit down and write it.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of churning there for a little bit, but
Yeah.
I just also love ghosts. I love ghost stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds a little bit like Beetlejuicy, but like not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I like that Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuicy. Juicy
Beetlejuicy.
juice.
How long did it take
I'm
you
gonna
to
get
write?
that printed on my
Oh,
sweatpants.
jeez.
I thought you were gonna say on my ass.
Beetlejuicy.
Probably a week. I had to write it fast. I had to
Okay.
write it so fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they announced it. I was like, oh shoot, I gotta write something.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a very, very fast turnaround.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And then what's the process like for getting that submitted and like decided like, okay, yeah, you're doing it.
Well, I stepped back from the actual decision meeting. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to discuss any of the shows that are actually being selected.
Yeah.
I'll tell everyone what I think of the rest of the shows, but I took myself out of the voting or selection process,
so
I guess.
it was myself, Zach, Casey, and
Sarah Little, right? Was
Sarah
she?
Little was part of it and a member of the board, and we just read them, and I think we had like
16
submissions?
Yeah.
which is like for that quick of a turnaround.
It was. I was
crazy.
not expecting that at all. I was expecting not even 5.
Yeah, and we chose the 5 best that we had.
Yeah.
And we all agreed on the 5 that we were going to do, and then within a week we had rehearsals. We had auditions and cast the shows and started rehearsing. Quick process.
Yeah, I even said, like, guys, this is a lot of people and it's pretty long for what you're looking for. So I was not expecting they were going to do mine because it was a lot for a short amount of time.
Yeah, and we got the right people for it.
Yeah, thankfully.
It's gonna be really good. So
I'm
come
excited
out
for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Thanks. I want to say too, very quickly, the playwrights this is not their first time except for, well, I don't know about. Never mind, I do know about this. Daniel Collette, who did Denise, he previously wrote License to Marry on the Shorts Festival. James Hayne did something called Confessional, which was a sketch comedy and improv review in 2019.
Okay.
I'm not familiar. This is Mitch's first.
Mhm.
But we all, like, Howard's done a lot of shows before. He did, like, Myths of Paradise.
Yeah.
He's done Would You, but this is a new version.
Yeah.
New version of Would You. And then I did a couple things, too, as well in the past. So
Yeah.
come out and support people who are doing
Yeah.
this in the community.
It's
They're so good.
yeah, and it's so cool to have like local playwrights.
You-
They're all local.
Yeah,
So-
you don't always get to see this. Like, not everywhere does something like this.
Yeah. So come out to PACA next weekend and, give them your money and enjoy some fun shows and support local theater and go see Da Vinci Code and all the other shows that are coming up. We're going to do Ryan Reed's Reddit, then we're going to take a quick break, and then I got to go to rehearsal. So we'll do What's on 814, and then we'll bounce. So this week's Ryan Reed's Reddit is from the Am I the Asshole subreddit.
Oh God.
And this is by Throwaway Jason. Title is, Am I the Asshole for Singing Any Dream Will Do on Karaoke when my wife told me not to? I, male, am 42. My wife is 39.
Wait,
So-
is he saying he's a male?
Yes.
Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
I, the male.
I, the male.
Okay.
I, the male. That's how they write on Reddit.
Okay,
It's-
just needed to confirm that. Continue.
And my wife, who's 39. So last weekend, my wife and I went to a karaoke bar with her friends. I love karaoke, and I've always enjoyed singing a wide range of songs. I'm a pretty good singer and used to be in a rock band when I was younger. My wife knows this, but she's always been a little embarrassed by my choices, especially since I'm a pretty masculine looking guy, thick beard, and a lot of tattoos. Anyway, I decided to sing Any Dream Will Do from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. My wife pulled me aside and begged me not to do it, saying it would be embarrassing for both of us. I really didn't see the big deal and thought it would be fun, so I went ahead and did it anyway. So I did it, and it went pretty well. The crowd was super into it and even joined in singing with the ahs. And and by the end of the song, everyone was clapping and cheering. It was honestly one of the best karaoke experiences I've ever had. It was a great time. Afterwards, a woman in the audience came up to me and asked if I'd sing Phantom of the Opera with her. It was another big hit, and we got a lot of applause. When I got back to the table, my wife was clearly upset. She said I ignored her feelings and embarrassed her in front of our friends and a bunch of strangers. I tried to explain that everyone seemed to enjoy it and that it was all in good fun, but she wasn't having it and stormed off. The next day, she's calling me an insensitive asshole. Her friends have even said I am great fun and asked me to go again. So am I the asshole?
What? What's the deal with this song? Is it that embarrassing?
That's a titty slapper of a song. Actually, both of them are. Can I chat? Can I say something?
Yeah.
Before you do, there's an edit at the end. He says, "We'll respond to some comments soon, but please note, I am not going to divorce my wife over this.
I was just going to say, are they still together?
It's not that deep. Please don't message me saying that." Okay.
Do we believe that this happened?
I do.
I'm always skeptical. I don't
I'm-
believe anybody.
So the answer, if we're taking this man at face value, this M42 at face value, is no. You're not the asshole. Sing your little heart out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why does your wife hate musicals?
I say if it was like something deeply personal to her, like something terrible happened to her while the song was playing, and she's like, "Please don't bring this up again. Like, please don't sing this one song that traumatizes me."
My
then
whole
I'd
family was
understand.
murdered while
Yeah.
Joseph and the
Yes.
Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat played in the background. I
Yeah.
couldn't pause it.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
If
No,
she
I
just
get it.
thinks the song is an embarrassing song, it's karaoke.
Yeah.
The thread that runs through, I just put this together. Maybe she's a Sondheim girl and she doesn't like Andrew Lloyd Webber. Both of these songs are Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Ah, yeah.
So maybe it's personal. Maybe it's about
It's a vendetta.
the musical theater canon.
Yeah.
Like, would you have been happy if he'd sung the Witch's Rap from Into the Woods?
Maybe.
You should give it a try. Comment, suggest that
I
one.
will.
Suggest Sondheim.
Try Sondheim.
I feel like I would have liked to have been there for that. We
Yeah.
need more bearded, tattooed, masculine men singing musical theater songs.
I agree.
I'm picturing that audience. I love it.
Yeah, especially he said it was a crowd pleaser. Everyone
Yeah.
enjoyed it. No
Yeah.
one was being like, "Who's this guy? I think he is."
Why are you embarrassed? Get over yourself.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a quick Warner Books coffee break, and we'll be right back with What's on 814, and then we got to do this quick. So we'll be back.